Hello beautiful people, Hoodie here, hope you're well. I really I enjoy making these videos, just talking about my journey with the guitar or all the different things. And I am halfway on the way back from Canberra to Sydney. I'm at a Tesla charging station at the moment, so I thought I would make a little video about the first trade-off a lot of artists and musicians need to make when they enter into their chosen sort of area. And I was driving and I was thinking about how it all started for me. And I remember back at school, I was in year 11, and up until that point I had passed everything. I wasn't an A grade student, but I was okay. And I remember year 11 comes around and I failed every subject except for music and computers. And in those two subjects, I excelled. So literally I failed every other subject. So it was quite clear to me early in my life that my career was going to be in one of those two topics, right? In computers or in music. And I remember, I went and played in some bands and we did cover gigs and things like that, and I wrote a few songs. At the same time, I was doing a lot of work with the computers and doing all of that. But one day I sat down and I remember thinking, what is the sort of life I want to live, right? And I remember thinking, you know what, I loved, seeing my mum and dad and the happiness that they had with us kids, and I wanted all of that, right? I wanted a house, I wanted children, I got a beautiful wife. I wanted that whole story in my life. And then I looked at both of those vocations, right? I looked at the musicians who were touring and couldn't get home to their families and had a hard time trying. Please, I'm not talking down anybody out there, but it looked like a tough road, right? It looked like a really tough road to have a good life. And then I looked at IT, which was just booming at the time. We're talking, just before the year 2000. I'm quite old now. So that industry was booming, and it's done very well over the years. And I remember distinctly making a decision one day that I would have a career in IT, right? And that would be a much better career for me than a career in music. And it was an amazing decision because it did a few things. It took a huge load of responsibility off the musician part of me to try and earn an income, because it was so hard to do, and it's still so bloody hard to do, right? There's no money in streaming, and all the songs and all the albums and all the work I've done, I think I've made $14 in Spotify royalties, right? There's no money in anything. I don't even get money from any of my videos or any of that, because that's not why I make them. I make them to help people. And you know what, if they blow up and go crazy and then I want to make money later, that's okay. But I think I'm going to focus on helping people first. But there was a joy in actually taking that responsibility of having to earn an income from my artistry, right? And I know that some people choose the artistry and then they just fight, and good on them, and I have a lot of respect for them. But then I heard a friend who was a photographer say to me, and he sometimes watches my videos, so he might, if he's listening, he said to me, there is the one thing you can do to take the passion away from the thing you love is to try and do it for a living. And it was so true, because I still feel huge passion for playing guitar, for writing songs, for creating works of books or whatever, because I don't do it for a living. So I'm quite happy with the trade-off I made in that regard. And I think, what is that saying? And I'll apply it to my situation. IT is my wife, but music is my mistress, right? So I think I'm quite happy with that. I think I want to keep the passion. I want to do IT, and I am passionate for that too, in a different way, right? It's an analytical sort of way instead of a creative way, even though I do try and bring creativity into my work as well. So it just occurred to me that there's probably a lot of younger musicians or people or whatever, artists in all sorts of different areas who are really holding on to the dream of one day, and maybe they just need to go all in, and maybe that's the answer. Maybe if I'd just gone all in, but I don't think I was ready to make that decision, because back then I still wanted to be Slash when I grew up, right? So I don't think I was ever going to be Slash when I grew up. So I don't think even if I went all in, that would have been a dream that I would have been happy with. It also occurred to me quite early that being in a cover band, although it was fun, didn't feel like I was making any progress because there were other people's songs. So the thought of doing that, so it was always been about me. It's always been about me and my own music, because I don't like being compared to anybody else. I like to have my, I like to bring out things that are my own, so that there's no comparison. Because you know what, if you try and copy somewhere else, they're always going to sound better than you because they did it first, right? So for me, it's always been about creating something new, and doing that. But that's just me personally, right? I know there's a lot of people just love playing in cover bands, and God, it looks like fun, and I go and dance to them and have a good time all the time. So good for them. They know what they love, and that's awesome. But it occurred to me, that really is, it's sort of that freedom or food. You got to make a choice. You got to make a choice on which way you want to go with your artistry. And you really, sometimes you got to make a trade-off, right? You've got to think, am I all in, or is that not the life I want to live? Or maybe it is, so, but you got to, I think it's important to make that decision, because it frees you from that sort of nuance of, 1 foot, half in, half out sort of uncertainty in your life, and it just makes things a bit easier for you. So I don't know if this has helped anybody. I hope it has. But thanks, as always, for watching my videos, and I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.